the problem with Blue Sky is more obvious than you might expect. The problem with Blue Sky is that there is no one on it. You see, sort of the fun of Twitter, right, came from the fact that all of you, everybody on there, were laughing at the people higher up on the website. It didn't matter how small your account was. It was a kind of meritocracy where no matter how absurd your post, no matter how small you were, you could join in gleefully on shitting on a much larger account. You could gain so much attention doing so that you would then potentially be responded to by the owner of said account, or at the very least generate a shit ton of attention underneath. And this was a great thing. This was a great thing because you, as the lower class in society, could kind of join in on this collective social media party. You all could band together to rally against people with much more notoriety, and just for a moment you could have your 15 minutes or more like 15 seconds of fame in doing so. And of course, in the advent of Twitter Blue, or whatever it's called now, this changed because the posts that are shown at the top of the replies to larger accounts is no longer the posts that happen to get the most engagement. It is a bunch of people with blue check marks. And that itself, the way that blue check marks have changed on the platform, that in and of itself changes the dynamic of the platform. Because in the past, a blue check mark meant that that was someone with notoriety. That was someone that you would know were in a position of power. And then you could join in on the fun, as I mentioned before. But now with blue check marks, you have a whole lot of people who happen to be fans of Elon Musk buying them in order to artificially put their posts at the top, regardless of the quality of said posts. And then enters Blue Sky, a website that does not really function as an alternative to Twitter, because the president is not on there, Taylor Swift is not on there. All of these famous people that the larger Twitter using population, the normal folks, would gang up on, they're not on Blue Sky. The people who are on Blue Sky are, for lack of a better word, a lot of faggots. It's a whole lot of LGBT people, like myself, who generally like free software, they like Linux, they like tech, they like alternative platforms. They've all gone onto Blue Sky to sit in their little left-wing hug box and say the exact same things back to one another. And I think something that's emblematic of this is the recent trend on that website of trans people, whom I support, making vaguely cringeworthy posts where they hold up guns and knives and say the exact same words in each of their posts, death before detransition, as a kind of protest against, the ongoing legislative onslaught throughout the states against their rights. It's fine and good to have those sorts of views, but I think when you're in a platform like that, where basically everyone happens to hold the same views, doing something cringeworthy like that doesn't really get corrected. There's not a corrective measure in place because the people who are primarily on the platform are the people with the exact same views who can just validate them back to each other. There's not a mechanism for self-correction. And so it ends up just being fucking boring. The same way that Gab, which is essentially the right-wing equivalent of Blue Sky, the same way that Gab or Truth Social are fucking boring. Because it's all just a bunch of people who agree with one another. Those people who got banned from other social media spaces liked being on those spaces because they would get replied to and noticed by people with whom they disagree. And that's the problem with Blue Sky. It's the exact same problem that all of these other alt-tech platforms have. They fundamentally miss the point of the platforms that they're attempting to be alternatives to. Because without all of those people with notoriety on said platforms, you lose out on the fun of shitting on those people.